In this lesson, we're going to be transforming quadratic functions from standard form to vertex form, just like we did before. The difference here is that a, or the coefficient of x squared, will not be 1 anymore. So the whole process is pretty much the same. There's just two added steps that we need to do. One will be at the beginning, and then one will come later on. I'm going to show both of those steps in orange so that you can see them a little bit more clearly. So when I have an a value that's not 1, I need to factor it out of the first two terms. Right? Normally I know I start with saying that, figuring out what b is, dividing it by 2, and squaring it. But we don't do that yet because we need to take care of the a term first. So I'm going to be factoring out 3, just kind of like I factored out GCFs when we were learning about trinomials. So I say y equals 3. I write that on the outside and then I put my parentheses. And then these two terms need to get divided by 3. So I say divided by 3. 3x squared divided by 3 is x squared. 18x divided by 3 is 6x. Close the parentheses, and then I bring down the plus 7. So why did I just have to do that? Well, part of it is I have to know what b is, and here it looks like b is 18, but you have to factor out the 3 first, and that makes b 6. So now I kind of start how I did before. So b is 6, so I say b equals 6, and I divide it by 2 and square it just like I did before. So divided by 2 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. Alright, so now I'm going to be adding 9 and subtracting 9. I'm going to do it inside the parentheses because that's where my trinomial needs to be. So I say y equals 3 x squared plus 6x, and then we add 9 and subtract 9. Now I close my parentheses and I bring down the plus 7. Now, we know in our parentheses we want our perfect square trinomial. Right now, though, there's 4 terms. So this negative 9 needs to get moved out, right? But everything in parentheses is being multiplied by 3. So in order to move it out, we're going to have to first multiply it by 3. So I'll start copying things over again. So I say y equals 3 x squared plus 6x plus 9. Now this is my entire trinomial, so I'm going to, it's all 3 terms, so I'm going to close the parentheses. And this negative 9 gets moved out, but like we said, it has to be multiplied by 3. So 3 times negative 9 is negative 27, and then I bring down the plus 7. Alright, so now I'm going to factor this trinomial, just like I was doing before. The 3 I just keep rewriting. It doesn't really affect what I'm doing here, though. So I'm going to make my diamond. I need factors of 9 that add to 6, and those two factors are 3 and 3. So remember, this would make our factors be x plus 3 and x plus 3. And because these are the same number, multiplying by itself is like squaring it, so we can instead just write x plus 3 squared. So we found that this trinomial is the same thing as x plus 3 squared. So I'm going to rewrite this, except instead of writing the trinomial, I write x plus 3 squared. So I say y equals 3 times x plus 3 squared. And then I bring down the minus 27 plus 7. Now I've done a lot of work. I'm almost done. All I need to do is to simplify this part. So I say y equals 3, then x plus 3 squared. Negative 27 plus 7 is negative 20. So I've gotten it into vertex form. My final step is to say what the vertex is. My vertex is -3, -20. How did I get that? Well, I have to do the inverse of this is +3, so I say -3, and then y is -20, so I just rewrite that. So, the important point to take away is that when a isn't 1, we don't start by figuring out what b is and dividing by 2. We first have to factor out the GCF from the first two terms, which means we write it on the outside, and these two terms get divided by 3. Once we've done this, we know what b is. So b gets divided by 2, and then squared. Then that's the special number that we use. So 9 gets added and subtracted. The problem was that now there were 4 things in the parentheses, and we just want 3. So this needs to be moved out. To be moved out, though, it has to be multiplied by 3. So that gave us -27. And from this point, we did pretty much what we had done before. Alright, go ahead, copy all this down, and start the practice. Good luck.